looking for good artifacts for your hunters and your Sun Ji-Nu, when it comes to accessories, you need to go through Steelfane, Lycan, and Egress the Red. But what's the best tier to grind? Let's talk about it. What's good, YouTube? NoGoodAim here, and come with you today with the instance dungeon guide. So the last video, or one of the last videos, were the Encore dungeon guides. So now we're talking about the instance dungeon guides. So with this one, it's not a hunter side. So on the Encore side, that's all hunters, but with the instance dungeons, thankfully, that's Sun Ji-Nu. So let's talk about the Lycan first. So with the Lycan, you can end up getting bracelets or necklaces, and basically these will give a certain effect. Check out the artifact tier list if you want to know which artifacts you want to be grinding for when it comes to your Sun Ji-Nu. When it comes to this, guys, honestly, it may differ a little bit when it comes to the instance dungeon tier you want to grind versus the hunter tiers, because the hunters will have a lower combined power than your Sun Ji-Nu, right? So let's say I go into tier 5, I am overpowered here, I'm 5k over, so I might be able to edge out tier 6, whatever the case may be. But sticking with that, you definitely want to grind around tier 5 or tier 6, because that's when you start getting legendary artifacts. Now, I'm not saying you should buy extra keys just so you can grind that out, but let's go into tier 5 just to show you guys how you want to basically go about defeating the Lycan. I personally like to bring just DPS skills here, so Vital Strike and Mutilate are usually my sweet spot skills to use here. Then as far as hunters, I usually bring a fire and water trio. So I actually sit Cha here, but I could probably bring her if I wanted to crit more. But honestly, the boy Sun Ji-Nu is not critting too much. But if you do end up getting more crit on your builds, if you do have good crit builds, then you can bring Cha if you do have her. Always want Egress standing up first. And yeah, so with this combined power, it shouldn't be too hard. I'm still rocking Plum, even though the Lycan is strong against Dark. So with this, I'm basically nerfing myself, guys, so just be mindful of that. If you think, hey, you have SSR weapons, whatever the case may be. I do have the Grimoire, though, A1, and that's going to help out a lot here. I do believe that is a weapon that you want to look for and aim for when it comes to instance dungeons, when it comes to both instance dungeons. So as the Lycan comes out, you actually have to defeat both of them, so it's a double boss. Now, this first move is very easy to evade. You definitely want to just kind of run into it instead of just waiting for it to come to you. And what I like to do here is get a shadow step going, attack, and then do my summons while he's getting frozen. I might do a full bloom, whatever the case may be, and then we just kind of jump the Lycan in the air. So with this, he usually goes in pretty quickly, and with the Lycan, he actually has really predictable tendencies. So you guys need to be utilizing your shadow step. You honestly shouldn't get hit by the first Lycan at all, if I'm being honest, but you know, let's say lag comes into play. Lycan likes to lag a lot. Like, as you can see, I'm dropping a little bit on the frame side here, but might even have to decrease the render scale real quick or something. But yeah, as you can see here, the Lycan, and with that dodging, I still don't even know how to time that, because those red circles kind of mislead you in that sense. But here, the second boss is actually very stronger than the first one, because it is strong against Dark but weak against Fire. And I don't really have any fire weapons that I'm attacking with. Now, what I should want to prioritize when attacking the Lycan, seeing that I have both the Plum and the Grimoire, I want to attack first with the Plum, then switch to the Grimoire. And then the Lycan move, it might be a little hard to kind of stop, but let's say I want to freeze him, do as much damage as possible while he's frozen. I just want to hit him with an ultimate. You want to use your ultimate only on the second Lycan. Now, if the first one's giving you problems, of course you can use it, but I find the first one to always be the easiest one that I face. So personally, it's all personal preference when it comes to that, but you know, definitely I feel like using your ultimate on the first one would be a waste, because you always have to deal with the second one. So I usually have no problems killing the second one. Without it, let's go ahead and try and shadow step, get behind him. And then you want to always utilize the shadow step. Utilizing the shadow step here is going to be very crucial, because not only is that going to decrease their defense by 60%, but it's going to give you the opportunity to get even more chip damage in. As you can see here, Lycan's almost done. Losing a little bit of HP, and then boom, he's dead, and then the second boss comes right back out. But as you guys remember, we ended up killing him. So as you can see, I honestly should be dead way earlier than this, but we're utilizing our extreme evasions, and like I said, we've been playing for a good little 5 weeks, so we've probably picked up on a lot of tendencies when it comes to this Lycan. So definitely, it's all practice, right? Let's say you can't dodge as much as that, and look, that was kind of mid diff, high diff, because we ended up having 4,000 HP left. But I want to say tier 5, tier 6 is kind of the sweet spot. As we can see, we're getting epic artifacts, some rares, but hey, definitely it'll depend on what you can do, what your total power is at. If you don't want to grind tier 5, if that's too hard, you can go a little bit lower. Now, this is different from Encore dungeons because there's no lower boss to grind. So you do have to get good when it comes to playing against the Lycan. Honestly, it gives you good practice too, because these are something that you can do daily. So you definitely want to grind out your instance dungeons daily. But now let's talk about Igris. Now with Igris, you guys know Igris, the boy Igris, right? Igris honestly became one of the easiest bosses to me in the game just because of how much I had to play him. Now, I won't use this armor break because as a free to play, you don't get this, or even as a pay to win, you don't get this unless you're level 55 or over, or unless you're lucky enough to draw that rune. But let's say I want to throw on Light Death's Dance, and I guess we could go multi-strike. So Light Death's Dance with the multi-strike, and I can bring maybe Eugene Ho. So I'm bringing 3 tanks here. With Igris, you definitely want to just keep breaking. I believe keep breaking, and that'll be the sweet spot because he can recharge his break gauge. But the more that you have him broken and, you know, kind of just idly sitting, then the more you can do damage and things of that. So when it comes to Igris, honestly, he has a predictable starting move. Go ahead and get right behind him, summon the shadows, kind of mess him up when it comes to that. Summon all your supports, and then I like to use the Grimoire to freeze him. And then full bloom with the Plum Flower Sword. You don't need these specific SSRs, but we do have this, so we're gonna use these. And then boom, one full rotation of skills and he should be broken. He's at 20% less HP. And then with Igris, honestly, just like the story mode, you're gonna have to learn how to basically combat. There's tendencies you're gonna have to pick up on. There's a lot of dodgeable skills that you might not have known that were dodgeable. Now this invincible mode, he's just invincible, so you can't really do too much, but this can be dodged. That one's probably one of the more predictable moves to dodge, along with, I would say that, but then we got hit, so can't really say that. But honestly, a free skill would definitely work very nicely here. Definitely recommend the full bloom sword as well. Honestly, when Igris moves a lot too, you can pretty much end up picking up tendencies, guys. The more you play these Encore and Instance dungeons, the more tendencies you're gonna pick up on when it comes to bosses. If you do one thing 1,000 times, you're eventually gonna get as good as possible. So if you're not good now, definitely don't feel discouraged. You're definitely just gonna get it eventually. So in that sense, you definitely just want to be mindful of that, because obviously this can be a little stressful, especially to my mobile players. Honestly, not sure how you do it, so one time, congratulations to the mobile players, because you have my deepest respects. Now, I'm on mouse and keyboard, so that's how I'm pretty much going about it. Ultimate when you can. We just got our ultimate not too long ago.
You're an unworthy opponent.
But
Flash.
so now we have a minute left. He's at 30% health, doing as much damage as we can, honestly. He wants to do that move again. We're gonna shadow step, slow down time. And then with this, we're gonna freeze him now. Backflip into the full bloom. Do a little bit more damage. Extreme evasion again. Summon the shadows. And of course, this is a lot, right? So I'm not expecting you to play perfectly. There's gonna be some slops, there's gonna be some errors. So, but I do think tier 5 will be that sweet spot to grind. So definitely when you have the recommended or enough power, you definitely want to just be mindful of this. And even with me doing relatively anything perfect, we're still down to the last 30 seconds. It'll take us all the, 3 minutes to give you. It took us 2 minutes and 30 seconds to basically defeat that Igris. So, but with time, as you get stronger, you'll be able to do even better. 2 minutes and 40 seconds relatively, and you'll get the artifact pieces you need. If you want to know what artifacts to get for your boy Sanji Nu, click on the video on the screen. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts below. And while you're at it, leave a like on the video and subscribe.